Whether you're building a blog, a website, or a portfolio, most WordPress hosting will meet your needs. Where things get more complex is when you have a high traffic site, complex site setups, large sites, or big e-commerce sites. That's when you'll need faster, more powerful hosting with additional specs and features. But for today, here are a few pointers for choosing a WordPress host. What kind of hosting do they offer? Most entry-level hosting is shared hosting, which is like renting a storage locker in a big storage facility. You, along with a bunch of other tenants, each have your section of the space. Pros, it's the most affordable hosting you can get. Cons, shared hosting is usually slower and has more security weaknesses. Support is also usually less responsive because you get what you paid for. Dedicated server hosting is like renting the whole storage building for your stored personal items. And cloud hosting is like having little copies of your stuff in the cloud that you can access at any point. Cloud hosting is by far the most advanced and high-performance option on the market, but it also costs more. What are the reviews like? This is where the real juicy stuff is. Look at websites like G2, Trustpilot, and third-party review sites. Pay close attention to how people review their site speed, uptime, i.e. your website not going offline for some reason, and the customer support offered by the hosting company. Do you want to bundle email, hosting, and domain registration in one? Not all hosts do this, so you might want to decide if that's a deal breaker for you from the start. The cost. Watch out here, since some hosts will give you an amazing deal on the first year and then charge you 3 times as much the next year. Make sure you always read the fine print and are aware of the full price. Extras. Things like domain privacy, which hides the name and address you use to register your domain, SSL certificates, a content delivery network or CDN, and website backups. Bluehost is a very common shared hosting provider with competitive rates for first-time website owners. Kinsta is my pick for a top-tier hosting with some of the fastest load times on the market. If you are Googling WordPress and find a website called WordPress.com, you've found a product from a company called Automatic. This is an online platform where you can host and build a website using a version of WordPress maintained and controlled by Automatic. They offer all-in-one pricing. This is a popular choice if you want a new site that is easy and simple to spin up and manage. But keep in mind, this is not ideal if you want total control over your site. WordPress.com is a website building platform and is not using the open source version of WordPress. That means that you can't easily download your content and move your entire WordPress site to a different web host. In a nutshell, WordPress.com is a website builder, and installing WordPress on your host of your choice is called self-hosted, and they're not the same thing. I host my websites with Kinsta, a premium cloud-based hosting company, so I'm going to use my account to demonstrate how to set up a brand new WordPress site. I'll point out where the experience will vary from host to host, and also what to expect with your host. Because Kinsta doesn't offer email hosting or domain registration, I like to use a website called Hover to register my domains. If you've chosen a hosting provider that does offer domains, email, or both with your hosting bundle, you'll want to use their services since you've already paid for it. With Hover, I'll look at my first choice domain and see if it's available. If it isn't, I'll suggest some alternatives, including different spellings and top-level domains. Once I've picked one, I'll pay for it, and I always check off private domain registration so people can't look up who's registered the domain. I like to be mysterious, and also privacy concerns. Hover has a few email options. If you want something very professional, choose the works. For the super simple option, you can choose email forwarding, and for a free option, bypass this entirely and use your current email provider like Gmail. For those of you who, like me in this demo, have purchased their domain on a different site than their hosting, you'll connect your domain and your hosting after you've started your website. In the next lesson, we'll install WordPress and start building. See you there.